system. Tonight, Local 2 investigates hundreds of bags going without screening at Houston airports every day. While security has stepped up for most people entering the airport's secure areas, our hidden cameras caught the TSA allowing luggage, purses, and backpacks to pass through without any screening at all. Investigator Stephen Dean shows us what he's uncovered and why members of Congress say it's putting all of us at risk when we fly.
It's like a horror movie for some of us. They make it sound like nothing's getting past screening anymore, even if it's in your bra or your underwear. But our hidden cameras find hundreds of bags getting no screening at all as they're carried back into the most heavily protected areas of the airport.
I would say we're not traveling securely because anybody could put something in their bags.
Houston visitor Teresa Cusack knew she'd be patted or scanned, so she wonders why we found TSA workers now being allowed to pass through a back door, the exit, to carry any size bag they want. No one x-rays or checks any of them.
I think their luggage should be screened like the rest of us.
Remember when TSA switched to these bright blue uniforms? That's when the agency stopped screening its workers' bags in 2007. The agency telling us it's just not practical to do that. And besides, these are all highly trusted members of the nation's anti-terrorism team. They've gone through background checks, but local members of Congress say that's the wrong answer.
Just because they pass a background check doesn't mean that they shouldn't be screened. If anything, you ought to be screening TSA employees more than anybody else because they have access to much more than the passenger does. Houston Congressman Ted Poe asked to have a look at what our hidden cameras found. At Hobby Airport, workers carrying coats and bags pass the checkpoint every day. At Intercontinental's Terminal B, every shift change sees a line of lunch boxes or backpacks or luggage workers bring from home. At Terminal C, the same thing. Just flash your TSA ID and it's a free pass to avoid any of the screening the rest of our bags face. It's absurd to let them go through without any type of screening. And then you got right next door, you got grandma having to go through the full body scanner. So it doesn't make sense. It's just total incompetence as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think, Stephen, you've spotted a vulnerability in the system.
Congressman Michael McCall serves on the Homeland Security Committee and the Terrorism Subcommittee.
The aspect of someone getting a fraudulent identification badge and a uniform and then bring in all sorts of weapons into the airport. So I think you've identified a real vulnerability that we in the Congress and our oversight responsibility need to take a look at.
TSA sent us a statement saying our security officers are a thoroughly vetted group of trained professionals entrusted to keep the traveling public safe. Our officers work in teams in public areas and are under direct supervision. But Congressman McCall plans to call for oversight hearings in Washington because he says all of these bags, even in trusted hands, could put us all at risk.
We saw Major Hassan at Fort Hood very successfully infiltrate the military, and he went through a background check. You can imagine how vulnerable the TSA could be to a similar type of infiltration.
The TSA admits it is not just here. Employees' bags are not screened anywhere nationwide. Congressman McCall is hoping his oversight hearings will fix that. He says that's a much faster process than trying to pass a law to force TSA to screen its own bags. We're live at Intercontinental Airport. Stephen Dean, KPRC Local 2.
Stephen, before you go, what are you working on for tomorrow night?
Well, we're digging into the very latest terrorism intelligence that rarely makes the news and why that is now a huge concern with what we found, and also how this all affects flights that take off overseas. I'll see you with that tomorrow night.
All right. Thank you, Stephen. Okay, Frank's back with us now, and you were showing us earlier we're going to need some coats, some heavy coats.